Welcome to Money Muscle Mindset, the podcast designed to motivate and educate you on your journey to financial and fitness success and to develop the mentality needed to achieve your goals. I'm Zay Molina, and in this episode, we're going to talk about how to break out of your comfort zone. Okay, so we're first going to define what a comfort zone is, why we find ourselves always getting stuck into it, and then we're going to talk about some tips and tricks to really break out, to really want to, grow and develop and achieve our goals. So without further ado, guys, let's dive right into it. Okay, so first and foremost, what is a comfort zone, right? When people say get out of your comfort zone, what does that mean exactly, right? Well, essentially, guys, the definition of comfort zone is a psychological state where you feel safe and at ease, but aren't growing or taking any risks. Okay, so one more time, a psychological state where you feel safe and at ease, but aren't growing or taking risks, right? And so essentially what that means, guys, is when we are in our comfort zone, we're essentially comfortable, right? That's what that means, right? We feel safe. There's no dangers. There's no feeling of losses. There's no feeling of failure or anything coming against us, right? When we are in our comfort zone, we are essentially at peace. And I know what everyone's thinking is that sounds amazing. We all want to be there, right? We all want to be very peaceful. We don't want to have to worry about any dangers or anything like that coming into our lives. So what is wrong with a comfort zone, right? Well, there's nothing wrong with a comfort zone unless you're trying to grow and develop, right? So when we are trying to grow, we're trying to develop, we can't grow within our comfort zone, right? We are essentially limiting ourselves. If that we're trying to become better, trying to do things we've never done before, we have to break out of that zone. We have to break out of that comfortability and understand that our development is past that comfort zone. It's past our limitations, right? So we can't limit ourselves by putting ourselves in this comfort zone. We have to break free. We have to push ourselves to do things that we've never done before. We have to take those risks. We have to go out and experience failures. We have to do things that we've never done before that are outside of our comfort zone for us to actually grow and develop. For example, when you go to the gym, right, if we're trying to grow our muscles, what do we got to do? We can't lift, just the same weights that we've always been lifting because what's happening? Our muscles aren't growing. It's not a challenge for us, right? Nothing's happening to where we're actually going to build that muscle, right? We have to lift heavier weights. We have to do more reps. We have to do something that we haven't done before, whether again, that's increasing reps or weight or volume or whatever it may be. We have to do something new that's unfamiliar because that's what's actually going to push our muscles to grow, to tear apart as we're performing those lifts, right? And then later on, they can start to build up, build that muscle back, right? But that's how we're actually going to see that growth in our muscles, right? In the gym, right? Same thing when it comes to our finances, right? If we're doing the same job every single time and we have the same exact budget, well, we know that we're making this amount of money and we're spending this amount of money every single month, right? But if we're not changing that up to either where we're making more money or we're budgeting a little bit better, where we're saving more money, we're not going to be able to increase our income, right? We're not going to be able to increase that amount that we're saving every single month or using it for whatever it may be, right? We have to do something different. We got to go and take risks and maybe build a side hustle, right? Maybe start investing into crypto or Forex or whatever it may be, right? But we got to understand that we have to change something about what we're doing now to actually break free from our comfort zone and start to grow and start to develop. Essentially, we're like a goldfish, right? If you take a goldfish and you put it in a small little fish bowl and you put it inside your house, what's going to happen? That fish is only going to be a few inches long, if that, right? Just swimming around in that fish bowl, right? And living its life at that size, right? But if you take a goldfish and you put it in a giant pond or lake or whatever it may be, right? This fish can actually grow up to over a foot, right? And it's simply because it's not limited in its size of its environment, right? Essentially, that small little goldfish in the fish bowl, right? It's limited to how big it can grow because if it grows too big, it's obviously going to push up against that bowl and not going to have a whole lot of room for it to move around and stuff like that, right? But if you take a goldfish and you put it in that bigger environment of a bigger pond or lake or river or whatever it may be, right? That fish has the ability to grow to its full potential, right? And that's the same thing that happens to us, right? When we break out of our comfort zone and we challenge our muscles, we challenge our income ability, right? And we challenge ourselves in different ways, guys, we are able to grow and actually achieve our full potential rather than limiting ourselves to doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, right? If we try to just continue to do the same things and, never challenge ourselves, right, we're never going to see the development that we want to see. We're not going to be able to achieve the goals, achieve the things that we've never done before if we don't do the things that are required for us to be able to achieve that. It's like that saying, so many people want change, but they're unwilling to change. Well, we have to be willing to change. We have to be willing to do something outside of our comfort zones, do something that's unfamiliar that we've never done before to be able to push ourselves, challenge ourselves, grow new abilities, learn new things, whatever it may take for us to really push ourselves to achieve our goals, right? That is what it takes, guys. That's what we need to do is, again, break out of the comfort zone and start challenging ourselves a little bit more. Now, we got to keep in mind, though, we can't push ourselves too much, right? We got to understand that, again, rest and recovery are still important, especially when it comes to the gym. We got to be giving ourselves breaks when it comes to our work, making sure that we're not overdoing it, giving up sleep, causing mental fatigue and things like that, right? Because there was actually a study done by Yerkes and Dodson, these two scientists that created the Yerkes-Dodson law, right? Which essentially states that we can't be too comfortable, but we also can't be too stressed out. We can't be too overwhelmed, right? We got to find that middle ground of a moderate stress, right? Because if we're too comfortable, then there's no stress, no motivation, right? When we're too comfortable, we just do the same thing over and over, and we're not challenging ourselves. We're not growing. It's like going to the gym and lifting, 2-pound dumbbells. If I'm actually able to lift 30-pound dumbbells, right? By lifting those 2-pound dumbbells, I'm not really growing. I'm not challenging my muscles, right? But there's also such thing as we can't be, overwhelmed. We can't be too stressed out, because when we're too stressed out, what happens? We become so overwhelmed that we actually become so mentally or physically fatigued that it actually, impairs our performance, right? We're not able to perform at the highest level. So it hurts our overall performance, right? So being too comfortable or too stressed out is not ideal. We got to find that middle ground of where can we have, yes, have a little bit of stress that's going to push us, to motivate us and make us want to go and achieve our goals, but also not so much to where it's hurting our, mental or physical health. And the way we can start doing these things, guys, is by simply just trying new things and, having an open mind, right? Having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, right? Rather than saying, oh, I'm already comfortable, I'm good at this, I'm bad at this, and that's how it's going to be for the rest of my life. With that fixed mindset, guys, have a growth mindset. Say, you know what? I'm already good at this, but I can get better, right? I can push myself. I can achieve more. I can do this, right? And you start to, get that motivation, internal motivation that's going to push you to say, hey, I'm going to go achieve something new. I'm going to start challenging myself, right? And by doing that, guys, you're breaking out of your comfort zone, right? So it really takes that growth mindset that's going to push you out of that comfort zone, out of that tiny little fishbowl into that pond that's going to push you somewhere that you've never, been or never done before, right? And it's going to allow you to grow to your full potential, right? So again, guys, by having that growth mindset that we talked about multiple times on these different episodes, it's going to really help us, achieve more success overall than having that fixed mindset and staying in our comfort zone. I have some fitness clients that when they come into the gym, they tell me, oh, I'll never be able to do a push-up or a pull-up or this exercise or that exercise. And I ask them, why not? Yes, right now we're just starting out. You're a beginner. That's okay, right? But eventually, as we continue to progress, as we continue to push ourselves, who says we can't get to the point where you're doing a push-up, doing a pull-up, right? Why can't we get there, right? And by, when they tell themselves that, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, they have that fixed mindset that limits their ability, right? But if we tell them, hey, yes, you can, let's start here. We're going to start small. We're going to start, at the very beginning, push ourselves to really grow and develop. Eventually, as we build those muscles, we're going to get you to the point where you can do a push-up, do a pull-up, do this exercise, that exercise, whatever it may be, guys. But my goal is to obviously give them that growth mindset versus that fixed mindset, because when they have that growth mindset, they're going to see better results. They're going to start pushing themselves a little bit harder in the gym to achieve their goals. And that's something that we all got to do, guys, no matter what it is, whether you want to have a fitness goal or a financial goal or whatever it may be, guys, we got to push ourselves, out of our comfort zone, do some things that are going to help us, challenge ourselves in the right direction to achieve our goal, right? And really challenge ourselves doing something that we haven't done before, or, to another level to really help us progress towards our goal. So how do we do this, guys? What are some tips that can help us really break out of our comfort zone, right? Well, guys, it's not really rocket science. As I mentioned, it's really just about taking action, right? So the first thing we can do is start small. Remember, you don't have to dive all in and go for the heaviest weight in the gym, or go for, putting all your money on one trade or one, crypto coin or anything like that, guys. We can start small. We can build things over time, right? So by taking those small actions, celebrating those small wins, we can start pushing ourselves in the right direction, but also in a safe and smart way, right? Where we're not overdoing it. Remember, we just talked about you can be overstressed or overwhelmed too much to where it's actually going to hurt your performance in the long run, right? Our goal is to start small, start at an area that's actually what we're capable of. And then from there, we can progress and start challenging ourselves a little bit further over and over, right? Just like increasing weight or, increasing, maybe a lot size if we're on a trade or whatever it may be, right? But as we start small and we compound over time, that's going to help us see the best results in, again, a safe and smart way. Another thing we can do, guys, is set realistic goals, right? If you're trying to lose, weight, let's say you're trying to lose 200 pounds, right? You understand that's not going to happen overnight. It's probably not going to happen in the first month or the first 6 months, right? You got to give yourself maybe a couple of years, maybe 3 to 5 years, whatever it may be, right? But you got to give yourself a long enough timeline to really push yourself to achieve that goal, right? You got to understand that, hey, I've been to the gym for the last week and I'm not seeing any progress. Guys, understand that it's going to take time, right? Be realistic about your goals and be like, okay, I know this is going to take time, but I'm committed and I'm staying consistent. I'm staying disciplined. I'm going to push myself to achieve this goal no matter how long it takes, right? Be realistic about your goals. That's going to help you set yourself up for success in the long run. Another thing we can do, guys, is reframe failure. Now, what does that mean? Well, essentially, guys, don't look at our failures as actually failure. Look at them as temporary setbacks, where if we take a loss or we mess up or, whatever happens where, it goes against us negatively, guys, don't look at that as, oh, well, now it's time to give up. I messed up. I failed. That's it, right? No, look at this as, hey, this is a growing opportunity, right? I can push myself from here. Now, hey, I know that I did this wrong, or maybe I lifted this weight and it was just too heavy. Well, now I can go down about 5 pounds or so, work on this, get a few more reps in. And then as I continue to build over the next few weeks, next few months, then I can push myself up going back to that new weight, right? Maybe I take a couple losses in a row on my trades, right? And I understand that, oh man, I keep losing. What am I doing wrong? Well, don't give up, right? Go back a little bit deeper, do some back testing, study up your, strategy again, whatever it may be, right? But start diving and say, okay, what am I doing wrong at this moment? But how can I get better, right? Take those failures, again, remind yourself that they're just temporary setbacks, and we can push ourselves to grow from those and start to learn and, use them as learning opportunities to get better each day. You just got to remember, guys, that we got to take action, right? Just don't get stuck in your comfort zone, right? Your comfort zone is holding you back because it's comfortable. Again, it's the easy way out, right? But we got to push ourselves. We got to go and break free, break out of the box, break out of the tiny fishbowl, and push ourselves to grow to our full potential. We got to recognize when fear and doubt and, failure and, discomfort and all this stuff is holding us back. We really got to challenge ourselves to push through it and continue to pursue our goals, break out of that comfort zone, guys, to really achieve success. So with that being said, guys, that's pretty much what I got for you guys today on this comfort zone episode, guys. Really, learning how we can break out, how we can stop being stuck in our ways, stuck in what's, again, familiar and comfortable, right? But how we can challenge ourselves, how we can take those actions today to push ourselves, right? And another way you guys can do that, guys, is again by joining the 25 Days of Growth Challenge that I have going currently on right now, guys. We started on Black Friday, November 29th. We're going all the way to December 23rd. But if you haven't started, guys, again, it doesn't matter when you start, right? You can take this challenge. All it is 25 days of completing 5 tasks that are going to push ourselves to achieve our success. The 5 tasks are: write down our goals every single day, read for at least 10 minutes a day, work out for at least 30 minutes a day, or at least be active for 30 minutes a day. Okay. Then it's also practice a skill for 30 minutes a day. And then number 5 is to learn something new for at least 30 minutes a day, right? So we're pushing ourselves to complete those 5 tasks every single day to grow and develop, to achieve success, right? To push ourselves to develop these habits to achieve our goals, right? Doing things that we haven't done before to really, again, grow, break out of that comfort zone to achieve our success, right? So if you haven't started the challenge, guys, it's okay to start whenever. Just go 25 days in a row, pushing yourself to achieve that success. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching this episode. I appreciate you guys always tuning in, and I'm going to leave you guys as I always do. Remember, success isn't just about the money you make or the muscles you build. It's also about the mindset you develop along the way. So once again, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Money Muscle Mindset.